Hi, and welcome to episode 26 of Talking Small Press Comics with Steve Keeter and me, larnedjustin. And we have an added treat right before we get going with the comics. The greatest guitar player in the history of small press comics, which is Steve, is going to play us a special tune. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I might play a verse or two, but
okay.
I wrote this song. There's a song I wrote a long time ago when Tim Corrigan used to come visit me every summer. He would come and stay for a while in Florida, and actually it was in the winter because it was really cold up there in Rochester, New York, and it was much more comfortable down here. So he'd come by, and usually he ended up not staying with me, but staying in a tent in the woods, which is interesting. He found some people, and he worked in the winter here, and he would come by the house, and we would draw comics and stuff together, and had a lot of great conversations. But he published Small Press Comics Explosion at the time. That's SPCE.
Right.
And I wrote this song. I'm not going to play the entire song, but I might play just a little bit of it, just to give you an idea what it was like in those days. Well, I started drawing when I was young, and then I had a lot of things to say. And I started doing comics, and I mailed them out, and I'm doing it to this day. I drawn all kinds of pictures in my funny books, and I always did it all for free. And I pay a lot of money just to get my pictures on the cover of SPCE. SPCE. Wanna see my pictures on the cover? Just one time, won't ask for another. Wanna see my characters on the cover of SPCE. The cover of SPCE. I know a guy named Timmy likes superhero comics, and he published one by that name. And I know they made you think of Lee and Kirby, but you know it just wasn't the same. Still, they sure were great, and they made you think, well, someone I'd really like to see. But he caught some heat from Marvel and DC. Now he's publishing his PCE. PCE. Wanna see my pictures on the cover? Ian Shires can't touch his mother. Wanna see my scribbles placed on the cover of his PCE? On the cover of his PCE. Well, I work for a printer, and I know a winner when I printed on my printing machine. And I ran a lot of comics on my two-color press. I've seen everything there is to see. And I got present from my pal Jermaine. Don't advertise on TV, 'cause you can't sell a small press comic with an ad unless you run it in a PCE. PCE. Wanna see my pictures on the cover? Wanna sell 5 copies to my brother? Gonna fire up full-page space on the cover of his PCE. The cover of his PCE. Well, I've been all around this small press scene for something like 30 years. And I've been writing letters to folks I've never seen, and I publish for my peers. And I wrote a bunch of stuff for the direct market that ended up in fanzines. And I ain't getting bigger, but I wrote the diggers like you read in this PCE. PCE. Wanna see my pictures on the cover? Wonder what happened to Andy Roller? Wanna see my stuff reviewed on the cover of his PCE? The cover of his PCE.
Now that's something you don't get on other shows. You may watch other YouTube shows,
No
but
extra
you're not going to
charge
get that.
Yeah.
Hmm?
No charge. We're not charging anybody extra.
No, we don't charge for that.
That was free.
That's free. Yep. Now, if anybody is still with us at all, we do have some comics to look at.
Yeah. We do have comics.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, because that's kind of what we're all about.
Let's see, let's take a look at Dale Martin's WATUSI number 41.
There it goes.
Yep. Now this is the
color cover.
Yeah. This is a regular WATUSI story. Sometimes Dale does ones where you finish the last panel for him, but this is not that. This is
he does a lot of jam comics.
Yeah, this is a regular story.
But this one's all Dale.
Yeah, this is all Dale. And it's rather interesting because it's kind of an eating garbage competition between WATUSI the dog and Professor Harvey's machine that eats garbage.
Yeah. And there's WATUSI down there.
There's WATUSI.
Yeah, so he's got this friend who's a professor. And,
and there's the machine right there.
Right, he's invented a machine.
Yeah. And that's his studio you were showing there, but this is the machine right here. See that? Now the professor's been experimenting with the machine, and he can't find anybody that can eat more garbage than that machine. But he
it's called the modalizing reclavator.
Yeah, modalizing reclavator.
And it consumes all biodegradable materials, leaving only recyclables behind.
Yeah.
There it is, unveiled and uncovered.
Right.
Loving this art by Dale. It's really funny. And WATUSI's involved here. And
well, yes, because
the professor wants to test the machine.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to find anybody that can eat more garbage than the machine. But he didn't run into WATUSI yet.
It's just he needs a machine. He needs a machine that can consume more garbage than a human being can. You know, something that's or a human being or an animal. And in this case, it's a dog. And so he challenges WATUSI to help him check the machine.
Yeah.
And so this involves eating a lot of biodegradable materials, whatever's left over. After he runs it through the machine, goes to WATUSI, and so WATUSI accepts the challenge.
Oh, yeah.
He'll eat anything you put in front of him.
Yeah. If it comes to garbage, he can handle it.
Right. So he's in there.
He's eating. And then, of course, this aggravating monkey shows up who...
there's a monkey in it that jumps in.
Yeah, he's a lab monkey.
Lab monkey.
Lab monkey that Professor Harvey has. And he tries to get involved in this deal. So you have to read the story to find out what happens. But if you like garbage, this is it.
That's not the comic. That's just the dog. Yeah. Well, this is Dale at his very best.
Oh, yeah.
There's some really great stuff here. And so, you know, Dale gives that machine a run for its money. You can see that Dale has been, I mean, not Dale, but WATUSI has been eating a lot of garbage. Look at this gigantic belly here.
Yeah.
The professor's all worn out. I mean,
he's tired.
The machine just can't compete against WATUSI.
No way. No way. And Dale also sent Astro Kitty.
Yeah, there's a nice back cover on this one too in color.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Color. Yep. He also sent Astro Kitty, and what's interesting is Astro Kitty was a comic shop in Lawrence, Kansas when Dale lived there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So he made a story using Astro Kitty, the figure, right here. And this is a little mini. about 6, 7 pages long.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, great artwork by Dale.
Not sure exactly what's going on here, but the cat's doing what cats do. It's sleeping, and something happens. Something happens that transport the, well, it's something kind of cosmic, and the cat falls for a long time.
Well, he's trying to land on a planet.
He falls, starting in outer space. It's dark here, and it gets lighter and lighter.
Yeah.
And
he's
the
trying
one
to land on this planet without burning up through the atmosphere.
But the one universal thing, once he survives, is that cats always land on their feet.
Exactly.
Proof positive, right here.
Yep.
From Dale Martin.
So now this ends up here with him landing on the planet, but it's to be continued. So you don't get the whole. You gotta ask Dale for the next issue, because this is to be continued.
Dale is such a fantastic talent. We love his stuff, and it's just amazing. He's been doing all these jam comics for so many years.
Oh, yeah. And
he does some great comics on his own. But he brings everybody in. He draws in the entire small press community. He'll draw a panel, not these particular issues, but he'll draw a panel, and then he leaves the rest of the panels of the story up to whoever wants to contribute. And
it's a lot of fun. I've done it. I don't know if you've done it.
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
yes, I have.
It's fun. I enjoy it. I always
do that too.
If he asks me, I usually try and do it. But he also said he's working on a major project. He said it's going to take some time. And part of the project are these cards.
Oh, yeah. And I got a message from him, too. And
he wants to know the writing on the back is in blue. And he wants to know which shade of blue we prefer. And he wants us to let him know by number.
Here they go.
Yeah,
and
that's the
character cards.
This is the back.
They show scenes from his comics, and on the back it describes the scene. And
it describes everything. But you see the different shades of blue. He wants to know which one you prefer. Yeah. I'm going to tell him it's number. Or I got to find it here. Number 2. I'm picking number 2. This shade.
Okay, first of all, I'm colorblind, okay?
Oh, so my gosh.
I do see colors, but I don't see them exactly as everybody else does, so I have a little problem with greens and burgundy. I get them all mixed up, but that's cool.
Dale, you've picked on the wrong guy.
Picked on the wrong guy. But, this is cool because the numbers of these cards, this one says collector's card number 3 of 90. There are 90 cards.
90, yeah, that's one, yeah.
Here's collector card, this one here, 60 of 90, and 90 cards, and these are amazing. These are amazing.
Beautiful cards. Yeah, look at that. I like this one.
Now, being colorblind and everything, if I had to pick one, this one has the most color, and is that the one you picked?
No, he's talking about the back. The back.
Oh, the back color?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even harder. Is that blue? It looks blue
he wants to know on the back. 2 is the one I picked. I think that's the one you're looking at. Yeah, number 2. That's what I would pick.
That one looks good to me, too.
Yeah. So,
Dale,
we've got the answer for you, Dale.
The colorblind people and the people who see color and everything else, we're all in agreement.
Yeah, and we're people whose opinion does not matter.
Absolutely not. No. That's why we publish this show. Just like we want to get some notice. We feel kind of insecure about things. And that's just the way it is.
Okay, we got more.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. The fact that he has 90 cards. Dale, have you completed 90 cards, or is this a work in progress?
Maybe it's going to be 90. I think.
Yeah. But gorgeous, dude. That's really cool stuff.
So what do you think about Zombie Dave number 3?
Just happen to have it right here.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. And if you want a wild, I mean wild comic, This is it.
From our pal,
Zombie
Matt
Dick.
Decker.
Matt has outdone himself on the story on this. Holy mackerel. This issue, I mean, this will blow your mind, I'm telling you. If you can keep up with this, you are doing something. This has got everything going on that you can imagine. But you know what? The main thing is here, this is based on a card game called Murdy. I think that's how you pronounce it, Murdy. Its initials.
Murdy.
And in this issue, it does tell you what Murdy means. He puts that in this issue. Murdy means, I'll tell you, Monkey Empire Royal Dynasty Edition. Murdy. That's
there
what
you go.
the card game is that this is based on. But it's a lot to comprehend. I'm telling you.
These cards that he have, you know,
No.
they
right
cause
there-
beings to emerge from other dimensions, like this banana guy right
Well,
here.
Dale is showing you the psychic banana.
Psychic banana.
That's a psychic banana right there. And
There we go.
The magician in the story says to the psychic banana, there, banana psychic, waves of uncovered a drumstick from the frozen poultry we used to destroy Cranium's tank. Wow. I hope
It's
you
like
were in
Dr.
the last
Strange.
issue to see Cranium's tank.
If you thought the last Doctor Strange movie was out there, you ain't seen nothing.
No. This is going way beyond that.
Yeah. Matt is magnificent. He does it all. The writer, he's a writer, the pencils, the inks, the colors, everything.
Well, he doesn't do the colors. I don't think he does the colors.
No, it says in the front he does the colors.
I think.
Right there on the cover, in the front, it says inks,
Oh, did he do the colors on this one?
Says so right here. He might not have did the last issue, but he did this issue.
Okay. Well,
and you know, they're beautiful. I guess it's computer. You know,
I would think it is. Yeah.
yeah.
There's another great line I like in here. The magician here, he's looking for a spell. It's this panel right here. He's looking for a spell that he can use against the bad guys. And he says, oh, to find the right spell, I would need a strand of Bob Barker's hair and a hell of a lot of chicken.
Well, apparently this happens. He's managed to obtain this. This is this whole issue is a big fight. The last issue kind of led up to this.
One fight page after another.
Yeah.
Things are happening in other dimensions, going back and forth. Monsters are showing up.
The big battle issue that Kirby himself would have been envious of.
Oh yeah, you're looking there at. That is the 4 o'clock sock monkey right there.
The 4 o'clock sock monkey.
Yeah.
One of the greatest villains ever.
Oh man, yeah.
Bigger than the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
He is, and
if you ever saw your Ghostbusters, that's what I'm talking about.
He's got one of the Murdy cards from the game stuck in his clock on his outfit. It says somewhere in here. So.
And you're just driving down the street. You're driving down the street in your truck, and you look up ahead, and there he is. This giant sock monkey.
Here's a big fight. Wham, wham, wham.
It's one zany comic.
And it is wild. Here we go into kind of a different dimension kind of thing. On these pages, look at these pages. Look how different they are. Yeah, look how different they are.
Yep. Just
and it goes back to this type of art. It is just, I mean, it is so wild. You almost have to read it 2 or 3 times.
It's so entertaining. Yeah. It's not a difficult read, you know.
No, it's just you may miss something.
Now we have 5 issues of this. We reviewed. This is the 3rd one we reviewed. We got 2 more. We'll review it next time. You know,
Yeah, we saved 2 more for next time.
The
and that includes the 5th issue. The 5th issue, which is the end of the series next time.
And we're looking forward to that. We have Cheetah Munculus here.
Yeah.
Cheetah Munculus.
Yeah.
The great ape villain who's surrounded by bananas. He has a throne made out of bananas here.
Right.
And he's definitely the head bad guy. I mean, even a zombie is kind of astonished by this. You know, he's like, whoa, I've seen a lot of stuff, you know, I'm dead and stuff, but I've never seen anything like this. So that's our friend, that's Zombie Dave.
That's in the next issue, yeah. So
that's at the end of the story.
Stick with us and you'll see that.
Yeah. I just love this artwork. I just love some of the stuff that Dale's doing here. You know, the effects and everything.
It's Matt, yeah.
Matt.
Dale was
Zombie Dave.
Yeah.
Dave didn't write it. Matt wrote it.
Yeah.
Dave's in it though.
Yeah.
I knew he's in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Dave is in there. Yeah. He's in there.
Yeah.
Wild. Just wild. What do we got next?
There's always something next.
What's on the top of your pile?
I got Heroic. I got Jim
Heroic
here.
Jim Maine.
Yeah. This is a comic. Oh, it's not a comic. This is
a comic that's not a comic. This is a magazine.
Yeah. Using the title Heroic, which Tom Felrath and Jim Maine have shared back and forth for decades. Originally, Jim Maine published Heroic as a magazine, kind of like this, but a small press magazine at the time. Tom Felrath decided he was going to do a superhero comic. He wanted to call it Heroic, and he asked Jim for permission. Jim says, okay, you can use the title. And then he did that for a while.
He thought he wasn't going to use it anymore. It says in the book. He thought, I'll probably never use that again. And then he changed his mind.
Somewhere along the line, Jim decided, well, you know, I want to publish my version again.
They're so different.
I guess he went to Tom and told him, you know, Tom, you know, it's my turn.
Yeah. But they're so different because Tom Felrath's is a comic book, and this is more of a magazine.
Right.
Because this is,
articles.
If you want to learn about, you know, well, it says on the cover, inside is detailed, I mean, very detailed articles on Metal Men, the Hero Alliance, and Peacemakers, which is
Peacemaker's Steve Shipley.
Steve Shipley's story, which is in here, illustrated by Steve Shipley, with an interview. Steve does an interview with Jim. Jim interviewing
great
Steve.
Stuff in here. Who drew this? There's a back cover drawing of Supergirl. This is outstanding.
John Lamb. Oh, that. Okay, I thought you meant the back cover.
Well, the inside back cover. It's almost the inside back cover. So this is the inside back cover. This is just before it, but there's a great illo there. There's a lot of great artwork in there.
I think it says Barker.
Barker?
I think.
The contents are in the front.
Let's see if it says.
Gary Barker, of course. My old pal, Gary Barker from the Ringling School of Art. I should have known. Yeah, but you know, he's such a great artist. And, you know, he's done work for me. He did the cover for the last issue of Mantra for me. Now, this is a slightly more gritty and realistic style than I've seen Gary use. No wonder this drawing really stands out.
Yeah.
It could have been the back cover.
Back cover is John Lambert.
John Lambert's back cover stands out as well. The Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Yep. And there to go.
Here's the thing. The inside is going to. You are going to be busy reading this. This is
there's a lot to read.
Quite a bit to read. What I'm looking at here is the Hero Alliance article with covers of the Hero Alliance comics.
Yeah.
And quite a bit to read.
And the Hero Alliance, this also has artwork by one of our favorites, Scott McClung.
Right.
Scott McClung, look at that.
Yeah.
That's the Hero Alliance. This is this group of great heroes. And you know, this article details their entire history. It gets into a lot of detail. Man, Scott, as usual, you outdid yourself.
Here's the Peacemakers article.
Peacemakers.
Yeah.
I got to flip back through because we're flipping back and forth and just finding so much cool stuff. You don't know where to stop. You know.
I know it's a lot to look at. I don't see on the page count on this. 40 pages. So,
yeah.
And filled with all kinds of stuff to read.
Here we go. Here's the cover to Peacemakers #1 by Steve Shipley. The Peacemakers having been a group of a couple of heroes, a superhero team based on his wife and himself. This would be Steve. This would be his wife Hattie. And look at you can see, well, they're madly in love, and they're also dedicated to fighting crime, fighting evil without the use of violence. Thus, they are the Peacemakers.
Yep. Look at all the covers there.
Steve says that Hattie actually came up with that idea. His wife Hattie, and you know, we've talked to both of them. We were both members of Let's Vlog, and both of them are on there, and they're both wonderful people. And Steve, of course, we just did
we just did an interview with Steve.
With Steve.
Everybody should know who he is.
And he's still doing it. He's still doing the Peacemakers. And this is a recent picture of the group. And so, yeah, they started out in Fantascape. Steve Shipley said in the interview that he created this group, and they started in Fantascape, something that he published way back in, when was it? The 80s, I think. And but they've continued on, and it's always cool to see a new episode of the Peacemakers.
There's Metal Men, the article on Metal Men.
Metal Men. I'm flipping through again. There's a lot of stuff in this. Jim, you did a great job. You put in so much stuff that, you know. Yeah,
and there's all the covers of Metal Men that he's included.
Carl.
If you are a superhero fan, you got a heck of a book here to look at.
Look at this. Artwork by Carl Bonacera. And the Metal Men was a very unique group of people. Obviously, they were all made out of metal, you know.
Yeah.
And gold, etc., platinum. And, you know, he talks about the history of the Metal Men in DC Comics, and how they were around for a while, and then they were canceled for a little while, and then they came back. And anyway, it's a comic book. I read this when I was a kid in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
I knew this was something really different. Really, they weren't your standard superhero comics.
Yeah.
These were like, you know, they were like robots, but they were cool robots. They had personalities. And platinum. Is this Tom Ahern? This looks like Tom Ahern over here. You got some great artwork with this article.
Yeah.
I think this is Tom Ahern inked by someone else.
Wow. The one that I'm not sure of.
Platinum. This is platinum, and platinum is the thing for you know, the head of the group. I can't think of his name right now, but it's in the article.
Yeah.
And that was an ongoing romance that lasted for a while.
The other thing I was looking at in here was this, I guess, I'm not up on this, the Captain Scarlet and the Mysterions. Was that a TV show? It's on the cover.
Yes, that's Jerry Anderson. Jerry Anderson, Captain Scarlet and the Mystery or Mysterons, whatever it is.
Mysterions.
This is written by Thomas Wheeler, and it's very comprehensive. It has artwork by Virgil Hope Bond. You know, and inks and colors by Mark Haynes. But here's an illo by Virgil Bond right here. but this was one of the Jerry Anderson marionette shows from the 1960s. And
okay, 'cause I thought it was a TV show, right?
Yeah, he did Thunderbirds and a lot of other stuff. And we used to watch those shows. They were totally unique. When I was a kid in the 60s, and I would distinctly, like Saturday mornings at that time, every Saturday morning there were all these cartoons. Later, they stopped doing that, but there was only 3 or 4 networks at the time, and Saturday morning was kids' time. You get up and you go watch cartoons, and I used to watch the Thunderbirds, and the Supercar was another one, but these were Jerry Anderson marionette shows. He did these shows entirely with marionettes, with puppets. And they were amazing. The special effects were pretty cool for the time, and it's all done on a small scale, but you know, if you look at those old shows and you see these guys, they're marionettes, so they're like walking around like this, you know, because they got strings on them, you know.
Yeah.
But Jerry, the guys who worked for him, the production guys, apparently they really achieved a certain realism. If you look at these marionette figures, they look pretty real.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're well done.
I mean, it looks like a real person.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so they. And this article talks about that, how by this time they had refined their craft so much that the marionettes looked pretty real.
Yeah.
And so I didn't see this. I didn't see this particular series. I saw some of the other Jerry Andersons, and I was spellbound by them when I was a kid. Here's more of Verl Holt Bond. Here's a scene from the show.
And in a drawing.
And the guy looks pretty real. And here's a drawing by Verl Bond, the same character.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Just
there's an action
great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you can spend a lot of time with this. Really.
when you were a kid, I mean, when you were a kid, you're watching this, you weren't fooled. You knew it was marionettes.
Oh, yeah.
They were so cool, you couldn't stop watching them.
Well, you know, if you go back far enough, Howdy Doody was the big show. He was a marionette. They were popular at that time.
Yeah.
I think Kukla, Fran, and Ollie were puppets. They were not marionettes, but yeah, all that stuff in the early days of TV.
You know, you've been around for a while. When you can remember Kukla, Fran, and Ollie, you've been around, man.
Oh, yeah. I remember it. I was a little kid. I remember it. Yep. Of course, my friend and I, we were big into puppets. We thought that was the greatest thing ever. So we liked puppets.
In the little town where I lived in Edenton, North Carolina, it was a little town 1 mile wide. I remember when I was just a kid, maybe I was a young teenager, maybe like 12 or 13 years old. I remember a marionette show came to town, and there was a McDonald's there, and they parked this carriage with it's like, you know, wagon wheels on this thing, and had a big curtain.
Really?
Curtain opened up. There was a marionette show.
Oh my gosh.
All us kids gathered around and we watched this thing, and we were amazed because some of the puppeteers were really, really talented, and they could make these things. Just the stuff that they were doing was like human. It was like, wow, this is really cool. That
must have been a wagon with wheels. That must have been back in the 1800s when you saw it.
Yeah, it's probably the 1800s. Yeah. But I remember, because that's when I was a teenager in the 1800s. I remember that very well. That show coming to town and those marionettes.
Yeah, great.
Cool. I mean, nobody's doing this anymore.
No, there's nothing like that.
Kids put
up with it.
Who needs it? We got CGI and everything else.
Yeah, the kids.
But there was a charm. There was a charm to that method.
Yeah.
It's like watching some of the old stop motion photography. And Ray Harryhausen and everything. Sure, we have CGI now. We can go beyond that, but there was something special about those methods.
The famous one was King Kong. I think everybody
Willis O'Brien
watched that a million times on TV.
And of course, Ray Harryhausen was his mentor was Willis O'Brien, and Mighty Joe Young was Willis O'Brien's sort of a remake of King Kong on a smaller scale, but Ray Harryhausen worked on that, and that's kind of where Ray Harryhausen got his start.
Oh.
And he took over after that. Clash of the Titans, The Valley of Gwangi, the Sinbad series, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
It all began with Willis O'Brien.
Wow. That's interesting.
There's a lot of history there.
Yeah, for sure.
Us old guys can remember that.
Yeah. If our memory holds up.
Yeah, as long as it does.
No problem. Yeah.
I think you can trust us for now.
Yeah.
You start making stuff up, then you might wonder, Well,
if we make it up, these people will never know. They're not as old as we are.
That's right. Just accept it as fact. You put it in the record books. Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, we got
online.
What do you want to do next here?
Well, we got Yeet.
Yeet?
Got Yeet.
So Yeet, we've got 2 Yeets to do, which is actually 4 comics. Because
Yeet, I don't know which side to show.
Yeet is 2 comics in 1. So, we got 4 comics.
You flip them over and you got 4 covers.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I wanted to say, though? We made a little mistake. We thought Yeet was monthly. We got corrected on that. Yeet is not monthly. It comes out when it comes out. It's $5 an issue.
Right. That's what Mike Jones is the guy who he's responsible for Yeet. He created Yeet, and Shane Luttrell is one of the contributors, and we hear from him, and he's keeping us informed. And he says it may not be technically monthly, but generally it does come out about once a month. That's what Shane says. He says occasionally Mike will miss it, but for the most part,
pretty much
it's around there. So that's where we got that.
I did want to mention that because I don't want to confuse anybody. So it does come out when it comes out, and it is Fowles. Our Second City Sentinels is the name of this.
This is this one.
Yeah. And what's cool about this is we find out in this issue who the Black Shadow is. The Second City Sentinels are a group of Chicago policemen that wear costumes like heroes. Yeah,
like superheroes.
But they are not superheroes. They're Chicago Police Special Unit.
Yeah.
But they've had an ongoing deal here with the one guy they couldn't recognize. They call him the Black Shadow. They don't know who he is. But in this issue, you will find out who he is.
And you know what? Looking back, like at our first episode, and at the issue that came before this, the story that came before, I already figured it out.
You figured out who he was?
I figured it out because apparently his glove slip or his costume slip, and one of the characters could see that he was a black man.
Yeah.
And so, and the only black man that they show other than that in the first story was at police headquarters, and the heroes are sitting and talking, and this janitor comes in, and he's an African American, and he's talking, and he's like listening to them, and and I said, that's the guy. That's him. It's got to be. And I was right. He turns out to be the janitor. I'm sorry, I just gave away the surprise of the story.
I know. I was just going to say, I was going to keep that secret for the readers, but no secret anymore.
But he's the most powerful guy in the group. He's the most powerful, the most athletic.
And he's not even a policeman.
And he even has the best costume. Look at that costume. I mean, yeah. So, and
I think he's ex-military. Isn't he ex-military?
Yeah, he's ex-military.
Yeah. So he knows what he's doing. He's just not a policeman.
He was trained as a soldier, and these guys.
Well, there is a bit of a story here that he faced some challenges. They wouldn't let him really be a policeman, and that's in the story. And this takes place in 1939, so you know what it was like back then.
1939, the thing was in 1939, there was a lot. more level of racism, a different level of racism than there is today. And so the police force of this particular group, they weren't prepared to allow a black man into the group. That's just the way it was in those days.
That's what makes this story pretty interesting. You've got that backstory here.
Yeah.
About him. So.
And a couple of the characters, a couple of the heroes, decide they want to find out who he is, and they confront him. And he doesn't want to reveal his identity, and there's a battle.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there is a fist fight in there. Yeah.
It's a terrific artwork, and I don't think, it's not in the credits here. I have to look in the previous issue to see who drew this.
I forget who drew that. I forgot. I think I said it in the last year.
It tells you in the other issue, in YEET number 50.
Our last episode, I think we did say who did it, but
YEET number 50. If you missed it, folks,
go back to our last episode.
Oh my gosh, it's written by Mike Jones, the founder of YEET.
Yeah.
Art by Mark P. That's an interesting last name.
Alphabet.
Warostic, something like that. Oh, Joe Wong. Joe Wong is one of the artists too. Remember we talked about that before, that there was 2 parts and there was 2 different artists.
Right.
And Joe Wong was one of the artists. I think Joe Wong might be the one who drew.
I think he might have drawn this one.
This episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Last time it was in color. This time it's in black and white, but it's as effective as ever, nonetheless. So, yeah, and it's just it's quite a great story.
Yeah.
He finally does take off the mask, and they get to know each other, and they become great friends.
Yeah, he's in. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the thing was, he wasn't supposed to be in because it was supposed to be a group of policemen, wearing costumes. He sort of just put on a costume and just showed up and acted like he was just one of the guys, and they all accepted him, and they didn't realize this guy's not really on the police force, but they realize by now that they need him. He's the best, and they become quite a team.
Yeah. Yep.
So I love this series. It's a great
cool,
story. The Sentinels is a great. The Second City Sentinels.
So then we flip the book over.
Yep.
To Rougettes.
Steve and Mark Shipley. Steve Shipley, our old pal.
Guess who? Steve Shipley draws the Rougettes.
With a character who looks somewhat like the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Except she's a lady.
Yep.
Yeah, a lady with great power.
Steve Shipley artwork.
Yeah. Anything Steve Shipley does is always interesting.
An action story, all kinds of action, superhero action.
Yeah. And he's the person who introduced me to YEET, because I hadn't heard about it before. And there came a time, and there's a lot of action in this story too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of great artwork by Steve Shipley. Steve just gets better and better over the years. He just, it's hard to believe, it's 50 some years later, and he's still going strong and better than ever.
And look at this.
But he first told me about YEET. He first told me about YEET and all the talent that was involved. Yeah, there you go.
That's the name of that guy is Century Prime. Century Prime coming in the next issue.
Yeah. So we're up against some powerful villains and stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of female characters in this story, a lot of female superhero characters.
Right.
As is kind of the style these days. You see it in the Marvel movies, you see it everywhere, but there's a lot of feminine characters. They're not so feminine, they're tough.
Well, no, these guys.
How do you define a feminine? If you don't define feminine as tough, whatever. But that's up to you to decide. These are great characters and great artwork. Did you see? I just saw. By the way, I just saw the trailer for the new Black Panther movie.
Oh, no.
You remember Chadwick Boseman, who played the Black Panther in the first movie passed away.
Right, I
And
know.
it was like, oh, what are we going to do? We just made a Black Panther movie, and now the guy died. And instead of replacing him, they're moving on. They're moving on with the story, and it looks cool. The trailer I just saw, first of all, it features the Submariner, Namor, the Submariner. You can see him coming up out of the ocean, and he's leading legions of undersea hero characters, maybe on the tops of whales and other aquatic beasts, against mankind, and especially against the Wakandans. I just saw this thing. I just got to bring it up because it's so cool. I'm thinking, okay, that's it. Chadwick Boseman died.
Yeah.
The Black Panther's over. There's not, but it looks.
They found a way to do it, huh?
It looks like they did, and it looks like the new Black Panther. Here we go. Is going to be a female Black Panther. That's what it looks like. But in the way they play it up, though, is really exciting. All you get to see at the very end of it is the back of her costume, and she puts her hand down, and these claws come out, and you go like, yes, this is cool. This is going to work.
Yeah.
So I don't mind,
Yeah.
I'm not, that chauvinistic, as long as the thing, it's entertainment. If they're doing a great job at it, I'll go, I'll watch, I'll pay the money. Definitely. Yeah. I want to see this movie. So if Steve Shipley's character, if they make motion pictures with Steve Shipley, maybe 10 years, 20 years down the road, our characters will be in the motion pictures.
Well, that's right.
Right, and somebody's going to pay money, and I want my part of that. I want to receive the royalties.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll back off.
Next story by Don Simpson, Ronnie Tillotson. But you know what? This artwork just reminded me of Mad Magazine.
Yeah, Don Simpson.
If you look, I'm going to show you.
Oh yeah.
Just the way. Let me do one thing here. If you look at that. Remember Wally Wood's work in Mad Magazine? He always would draw all the machinery and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Doesn't that look like that kind of?
Oh, I can see that. I can see that, and I can even see it in the female form here. It looks like it looks kind of like Wally Wood.
It does look like that. And I don't think he's copying Wally Wood. I'm just saying it looks like Wally Wood.
There could be an influence there,
I think it's probably an influence, maybe not. But the artwork is fantastic in this. Really neat.
That is good. That I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, it does remind me of that. Of course, I'm a big Mad Magazine fan, so everything reminds me of that. But anyway. Yeah, this panel here also, if you look at the girl in this panel, that's a pose that I've seen before. It could very well be a Wally Wood type thing.
Yeah, and in the same
or
panel,
Will Elder, one of the two.
The little guy this little guy's helping her out, and he says,
he's a Rumpelstiltskin kind of guy.
There you go. He says, if you want to be let out of your contract, they have a contract, you'll have to guess my real name. And right away I thought, Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
And they adopt that fairy tale to this science fiction scenario.
Yeah.
And it turned out great. So,
very different.
Most excellent. But all the stuff in these YEET comics, you got some of the best. These are talent, people I never heard of. People I never heard of out there in the small press, waiting around to find a place where they could put their stuff. And Mike Jones put it all together, created this.
I think some of these guys are working in pro work.
Yeah, there are some pros
in different areas, that we don't know about.
For instance.
Yeah.
And, because we also got this other one, and this is an earlier issue.
This one is really cool.
number 33. This is from
Whoops.
a year ago.
But what's really cool, let's look at this one. It's on newsprint, color newsprint.
Right.
And again, you look at it.
Smell good.
And you see, to me, a Mad magazine influence. If you look at the old Mad magazines, now they were in black and white. Reprints were sometimes in color. Mm-hmm. But look at that. And it's on newsprint, just like they were.
And this is William Messner-Loebs.
Yes.
Who is a pro, and we've talked about him. And we talked about him in the last episode.
Yeah. And this is a very unusual story because this guy is a frontiersman out, out in the woods. And
Wolverine McAllister.
An orb shows up, and he is curious and gets taken up into the sky by this orb.
Uh-huh. There it is, right there.
Yeah, and it took him up into the sky. It's really cool.
It does look kind of like old EC Comics, Mad Magazine.
Yeah, it does. I mean, look at this page here.
It's just beautiful artwork. I mean, it's really,
oh man, yeah, great. I love it.
Just gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it is on newsprint, which
it's on newsprint.
Because the new one, the new Yeets aren't on newsprint, but this one was, and that's very interesting. And it adds a different sort of a feel to it, a more of a classic.
Yes, it does. And he's actually the character is in the Michigan frontier, which is where I think this comic is from, Michigan, right?
Is it?
I think so.
I don't have that address right in front of me at this moment, but
yeah, I think so.
But there's somewhere. I'm way down here in Florida, so
yeah,
everything is up north from here. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's some great lighting
in here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why the hot dog is there.
Ooh.
But the story.
That's from the previous story. Look at this. Okay. Let's go back to the previous story. Just a couple of pages, and this is just nuts. Because you got someone as a girl, and she's in ropes, and she's being kidnapped by this guy. Okay, this big fat guy here. He's kidnapped her.
This is Tales of the Grand City. Oh, wait a minute.
This is by Brian Cole.
Tales of Grand City, the Rentals.
Right.
It's a costume rental store. You rent costumes.
Joe Wong. Okay, but the hero shows up, and here he is. His superhero costume is just
a bunny
rabbit suit.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing elaborate. It's a rabbit suit,
right.
And it turns out this guy is an old friend of him. The big fat guy is an old friend of him, but he's got like a mental problem or something, and he keeps kidnapping their high school friends or their friends. He keeps kidnapping them. He'll wrap them up. And the hero keeps showing up, but he's not a superhero. He just finds whatever costume he can find, and here he is. So he
found a hot dog. He found a hot dog costume
with mustard.
There he is.
He says, stop kidnapping my friends.
Yeah. And it hints. It just says the end with a question mark, so it hints that there will be more.
This goes on and on, apparently.
Yeah.
So, but yes, the one you were just pointing to on the next page there, Cat Demon by Jason Kruger with art by Eli Jansen.
Mm-hmm.
This one really stands out.
Yeah.
This one is superb.
Yeah. This is very cool.
Yeah.
He's in this jungle, and
this guy is in the jungle. He comes across a guy. He comes across a guy who's in quicksand.
Yeah.
And he's asking for help. Save me, save me, save me. But he doesn't save him. He's cold. He doesn't save the guy. He lets him drown in quicksand. And when he does, he becomes the victim of a higher power, a cat demon of sorts.
There is the higher power there showing up.
The higher power doesn't appreciate the way he's treated other people. He says, from now on, you will be forced to help whoever is in need
to atone
for your sins.
He becomes this cat.
Cat demon.
Cat demon over here.
Yep. And he's trapped.
He's becomes that. You can see it.
Yeah. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, look at that.
This is the guy. That's
Same
what
guy.
happens when you don't help other people
If
out.
you don't help people out of quicksand, this could happen to you.
That's it, man. That's karma, instant karma,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So he becomes the cat demon, and after that,
He's
all
helping
kinds of
people.
stuff happens. Gosh, the artwork is just beautiful here. So much cool stuff. Look at this.
Yeah.
The textures, the color, the darkness of the panels. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's really, really, really neat.
And so that's what happens. He goes in.
Yeah.
He goes through adventures in the jungle.
And they're after this cat demon, but right near the end there, this guy says, hey, you know, that cat demon saved my life. So, you know, don't be going after him.
Which is kind of ironic. He's
Yeah.
stuck in a life where he's saving other people's lives.
Saves other people.
He didn't save the guy before, and now he has to save people. He has no choice. It's his curse. It's his destiny.
Yeah.
And what a cool character.
This was issue number 33, and it does say this was continued. So I don't know when it was continued, you know, what issue, but
This
there
was
may
in
be more out there.
February 2020 when this one came out.
Yeah. So
Thanks, Mike, for sending us a couple of extra issues. We really do appreciate that. And
Yeah.
we both subscribed. We subscribed to YEET. It's too good not to. I have to, got to recommend it, folks.
yeah.
Mhm. The other side,
Princess Marshmallow, right here. This is
Princess Marshmallow.
And
Clever.
kind of goes wordless quite a bit, you know.
There's a white bird, like a dove, well, a white dove, flying to the window.
And there's
this
another
young lady-
person in a rabbit costume. I don't know.
Go again.
Must be a coincidence.
Yeah.
I don't think it was planned. I think rabbit costumes are popular among superheroes. Maybe.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
it's a new thing.
It's a new
It's
thing.
the latest trend.
Yeah.
Well, she becomes transformed.
Mhm.
She becomes transformed.
Yeah, that's
Here's the
another theme.
transformation scene here.
Yep.
Yeah, cleverly, cleverly covered so you can't see, what anything there that's,
No.
you got to be careful about what you show these days. And so she becomes this Princess Marshmallow.
Yeah, kind of a dancing panel here on top, or kind of dances across there.
Yeah. Okay. And so here she is in full costume with sort of a sword here, and at the end of the sword there's a marshmallow right there. So soft version of a hero.
Yeah.
She uses marshmallows to her advantage throughout the story. You'll see that as you're going on. So she's pursuing this criminal. Yeah, you mentioned the rabbit costume. Here it is.
There it is.
Bouncing down the street in the rabbit costume.
As rabbits do.
And that's what they do. And so that makes it an authentic rabbit super villain, I guess.
Right.
So she has to handle this being, and she does it quite handily, knocking it out of the sky, causing it to land on a giant marshmallow of her own creation.
That's where she had popped off in that. She popped
that's
off
her.
the marshmallow.
Yeah, she fell, and she put up a giant
top of the
marshmallow,
page,
like a giant pillow to catch her.
Yeah. And she landed on her feet, fortunately.
Folks, she has marshmallow powers.
You remember I guess that was the Stay Puft Man? The giant Stay Puft
Yeah,
Man?
in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Marshmallow Man. Yeah. And this story does end. It doesn't say continued.
It's a happy ending. I mean, it's kind of it's manga influenced. It's definitely influenced by a Japanese style of comics.
Yeah.
But she's a happy hero, and
then
a lot
the
of
next
fun.
story, Sidero, the last Earthman.
Yeah.
The last Earthman, Sidero.
Yeah,
and this is, let me give you the lineup here. This is Chris Malgrain, plot, art, and creator. Steve Roman, script. Fred
Steve Roman.
Grivald, letters. Jim Arden, graphic design. So that's a whole team working on this.
Yeah. You know, one thing I noticed, who's the artist here?
Well, I guess it's the first guy.
Chris Malgrain. I immediately I noticed a John Byrne influence on the artwork.
Oh, okay.
This reminds me a lot of John Byrne. In fact, you know, I had to do a double take. I looked a couple of times and I'm going, is this John Byrne? Did John Byrne draw this? But no, he's just influenced. I mean, it's clearly an influence, and but he does it perfectly. It's not inferior in any way. It's actually outstanding. We even have a Silver Surfer like character here. But he doesn't stay, you know, looking like a Silver Surfer. It's just he goes through a transformation, and he ends up looking kind of like the Silver Surfer, but without the surfboard. And he actually goes through a metamorphosis. Yeah. There's a whole story here. I just skipped over about 6 pages to get to that point.
It's a fairly long story, and but you know, I mean, it's great stuff. Great stuff. Yeah.
He ends up adopting a superhero costume just because, you know, as a kid or whatever, he read superhero costumes, and he said he didn't want to ride around naked. He didn't want people to see his private parts, you know, because you know, once he's transformed. So thus he became this hero flying. He says, was there a universe before this one? Is there life on other planets? Are we alone? He goes off to explore.
Yeah. Yep. That's how it ends. Yeah.
And then you see
him going off to explore.
Off into the cosmos.
The next issue is The Depths of Despair. And again, this was February issue 33. $5.
This is a really cool character and a really cool story.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know John Byrne's art, I mean, just look at this. Right here, look at the way the crosshead, whatever, the inks especially, it looks like John Byrne.
Huh. Okay.
So you can see the influence right there.
Yeah.
But he's not exactly like John Byrne, but you can see that influence, and I thought that was interesting.
That's for sure.
You know, a lot of my favorite artists were influenced by one artist or another, and you can see that in their styles. You can see a Kirby influence or a Ditko influence or whatever.
Yeah, you can see it. Like I said, influence. I kept seeing Mad Magazine influence, so
so there's always influence,
whether it's intended or not, just kind of what we've seen.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, one artist. One artist is influenced by another artist who's influenced by that artist, and on and on and on, and it goes on. And we're always creating, learning, developing, evolving as artists and creators.
We got a little bit of time left here. We have this.
Well, this one was disturbing.
we debated about this.
Yeah.
This is called Becoming a Prosthetic User. And it's like a chick.
Whatever it was, those religious tracts. Who's that guy? Chick Davis or Chick?
The chicks are famous religious tracts. This is patterned after that.
In the style of a religious tract, but it's about having parts of your body cut off and replaced by prosthetics.
Right. This is Don Davis.
Don Davis.
And I don't know if this is for everybody or not. I don't know, but we'll put Don Davis's information down below. It's very well drawn. The cartooning is excellent.
Yeah, we like Don's cartoony style.
Yeah,
His
cartooning
style is terrific.
really good. Really
But
good.
you see, when you see panels with, I'm sorry, but you don't look
Talking
at
about people that do it on purpose.
body parts.
To get a prosthetic, they cut their own limbs off. I don't know.
So it's clearly tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I guess.
But
anyway, that's what it is.
So I have to recommend Don's artwork. I recommend his writing.
Excellent artwork.
Comics, always interesting.
Yeah. And
this
we will
one's
have
a
his
little
contact
weird.
information below, of course, where you can send for one of these.
But Don, we still love you. We still love you. I mean, it's a little weird, but we still love you. So keep sending us your comics.
Yeah. So we are running out of time here because we are limited. We have the free version of Zoom, and it runs out of time.
Yeah. So we've still got so much time. So I'm going to do about 5 or 10 more songs.
Yeah. We'll record those and put them on later.
Oh, maybe next time.
Yeah.
I'm very out of practice.
But now, next time we got two more Zombie Daves. Next time.
We do.
Already. Plus whatever else falls out of the sky and lands in our mailboxes.
And on my other channel, Steve Keeter, the Classic Comics Man, not only am I gathering these videos, I'm making copies like I just posted on that channel, episodes 21, 22, and 23 all in one video. It's kind of a backup, and I'm doing it pretty much myself just to save it for myself. If you guys want to check out the earlier episodes, you can do that, or you can check them out here on Larned's channel.
Yep.
And I'm also going to be reviewing some of Larned's comics he sent me that we're not reviewing here. So there's going to be new stuff too. And
it will be on your channel. That's great.
Very shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got one from you just recently. Everything's in disarray, unfortunately, but it's the funniest thing I ever read in my entire life.
Oh, well.
So this guy over here is
and people have something to look forward to.
So yeah, so in between episodes of this, you can find other episodes on that channel.
Yeah, we've got some other announcements coming soon. Stay tuned. We got some things we want to talk about with our viewers, and we'll do that at another time. But I want to thank everybody for watching. Our views are going up, 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 and that's just great. We enjoy doing this. We're having a blast.
Did you want to mention anything else?
Not right now, but we will do that another time.
Okay. We got other stuff in the works.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you know when we are on and coming on, and you won't miss any episodes. And if you do miss them, go over to Steve's channel. He's got them over there. Yeah,
I'm backing them up over there.
He's backing them up. So you got a lot of us, whether you like it or not. All right. We will see you next time.
Adios.
Well, hi. Welcome to episode 27 of Talking Small Press Comics with Steve Keeter over there, and I am Salty Brice. And Steve is the classic comic book man all of a sudden. Wow.
I just got one thing to say.
What is it, Elvis?
If you're looking for trouble, you come to the right place. Looking for trouble, look right in my face.
Uh-oh. Whoa.
Okay. That's all I had to say.
There you go.
You know, I got to take care of my hair because I really do have beautiful hair, you know.
Yes, I know that. Even though sometimes it's plastic, even. But
I can't resist myself. At the beginning of every video, it seems I have to do something really weird and
really
strange.
ridiculous.
It sets the
No, it's
tone for
good.
the rest of the video.
Yeah.
So you can forget, being reverent or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
that's okay. Let's go with it.
All
However,
right, we will. We're going to. We have gotten 5 issues of Zombie Dave, and we have 2 more that we have not looked at yet.
oh my gosh.
And I thought we'd start with issue 4.
And we're
And
like,
they all are. I've got them all on my desk too.
Matt
I
Decker.
mean, they're extremely professional for one thing. Really neat. But we hadn't reviewed Zombie Dave 4, which, let me tell you, let me just mention, if you have the other issues, you ought to take notes before you get to Zombie Dave 4.
Yep.
Because there is a lot going on in this issue.
It starts to get real complicated.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know how to describe some of this.
Homunculus.
Yeah. And it's all based on a card game, Murdy, that comes to life and becomes
Monkey
real.
Empire Royal Dynasty Edition.
Yes, that's the name of it.
Oh.
And this is Homunculus here, but Homunculus, this is a good Homunculus.
Right.
Back in another issue, there was Homunculus with a different outfit on, who's the same guy, but bad. Yep. If you can fathom this, you've got to really think about this.
Yeah, you got your evil Homunculus.
You got the evil.
And you got your good Homunculus.
And then you got this Homunculus, who's not evil, but he's the same guy.
Yeah,
what?
That's the new one. And this is quite an amazing series here. I don't think I've ever read anything. It's really one of the finest small press comics I've ever seen. It's not even small press.
No, it's a major. Yeah, and these are full bleed pages too. But I mean, it's. But following the story, man, you better pay attention. I'm telling you.
Especially when you get to number 4 and 5.
Number 4 especially. If you don't think about what's going on, you'll be lost. And I was lost for a while, but I've had the book for a while, so I could go back and look at it. And these 4 guys are essential in the story. They're the guys playing the card game that comes to life. So they're essential. Pay attention to them.
And they wear cool hats.
Yes, they do. They have the wizard hats on.
Okay, here, just checking back, just so you know, the original Homunculus.
There's the original, and I'll show you the
I am Homunculus, Destroyer of Time.
Yeah, the same guy, but dressed a little different.
That's the new guy. So this was the blue Homunculus, and that's the egg white Homunculus.
This one is the egg white, yes.
He's the villain, and then he becomes a hero. He's an anti-hero.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy.
Sometimes hero, sometimes villain. Yeah. We're tapping into a lot of different dimensions, and
quite a few different
characters
dimensions
are coming out of the woodwork, and some of them are pretty amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of different dimensions in here. A lot of different.
You see a lot of creatures here.
Universes. And
they're all dimensions based on card games.
Yeah, it's all based on this card game that they're actually living through. The art just never quits. It's just all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And there's a lot of action in the last couple of issues.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Look at this.
Leading up to this. Yeah. And you see there where you can see Chomp and Censored, that page there.
Yeah.
Where our hero, Zombie Dave, if he's denied his What does it eat? What does it eat? Those darn chips, whatever they're called. How could I forget that?
I know, but there's so much in there you can't remember all.
Yeah. Anyway, you know, they're giving him corn chips or something. Why can't I remember that? This is embarrassing.
Oh, pork rinds. Pork rinds.
Pork rinds. Pork rinds. That's it. They give him pork rinds so that Dave will not eat human beings.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
By this time,
you're gonna be eating something. So pork rinds are one thing, but
he had his pork rinds. He was hungry, and one of the bad guys in the story just happens to cross his path, and well, you know, he becomes the latest meal, which kind of solves part of the problems. I'm not going to give away the ending.
Oh no, but you can see here in this particular panel, they go on a RV trip, and speaking of pork rinds, it says right here, are we really taking all those pork rinds, Dad? And it says, after last night, taking no chances. Dave will not get hungry on this trip.
I'm looking.
So they're taking Dave with them, but they got to have pork rinds. He eat the whole family. I'm sure of it.
But he's become very good friends. These are his family now.
Yeah.
Will Bishop, that's the guy with the black face.
Yes. Will Bishop is the guy that got
Bishop
burned, kind of.
Yep. And his wife, Lynn.
Yeah.
His wife, Lynn, turns out to be Dave's, when he was alive, it was his half sister, I think, or stepson.
I think so.
His half sister. And she's having a romance with Will, and they have a son named Billy. And Billy and Dave have become great friends. So they go on adventures together. And
we also have, don't forget about the Thor sock monkey, because he's in this issue too.
Yep.
Yeah.
The 12 o'clock Thor sock monkey. There's so much going on here.
You're not kidding.
There's a lot of action. Here we got Dave. Dave has gone, he's in an astral form here. And generally, he can just go through things. But something's going on here where he achieves corporal form.
Yeah. They're kind of putting their hands through him and realizing he's not really solidly there.
Right. And this is another version of Cheetah-Monculus here.
I was going to say, there's the Cheetah-Monculus. Again, now this is another form of the Cheetah-Monculus that's in the story. Yeah. I'm telling you, folks, you're going to have to keep up.
And he, too, is in an ethereal form. But since they're both in ethereal forms, they're like phantoms, they can contact each other and actually punch each other, and they have a big fight. So, but good grief. As I said, the story gets a little complex towards the end, but by this time, you've read through several issues and you've come to really, these characters are fully developed. You've come to really enjoy and appreciate them.
Yeah.
The bad guys, the evil bad guys, and the bond between the good guys, the people.
Well, you're kind of getting into issue 5 here.
I'm totally looking at issue 5.
Matt pulls everything together in this issue. This is the heart, but you need all the issues. But this one you got to have, because this tells a lot. Tells you a lot about what's been going on. I mean, it's just really cool the way Matt does this. He brings it all together in this issue.
And it turns out the primary villain is not Cheetah-Monculus.
No, it's
big red orb.
Yeah, this big red orb. Yeah, right there. That's the main problem here.
Which has the power to access all these different dimensions and bring in all sorts of evil from billions of dimensions and worlds, and So this guy's a
So
pretty
Richard Cranium has that
powerful.
right here. Isn't that Richard Cranium?
That's him.
That's him. And he's
Yeah.
got the orb. See.
But the last issue gets into a little bit of the origin of Zombie Dave. Before he was a zombie. Well, in
yes,
fact,
it
it
does.
explains a lot. Before he was a zombie, he was a scientist.
Yeah.
He was very driven, and most of what happens, opening these other dimensional gateways, and bringing all this evil and everything into our universe, is pretty much because of the mistakes he made as a driven, fanatical scientist.
There's actually, you can see he got poked with that, and then boom.
There he goes.
Zombie.
Kabloom.
Boom.
Kaboom.
Kaboom. Bad boo boo. Kabuka boo boom.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So that's, David turned into a zombie after that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Oh my God, there's so much going on. These guys they're having I think this one's kind of funny. They're having it's sort of like a seance or a thing where you got this character here,
Yeah.
and he's trying to contact. What's he trying to do here? He's trying to do something to bring in help from the other dimension, and he's trying to do something to stop the orb from opening multiple portals at once and bringing all this evil into our dimension. And that's Dr. Cliff Stormstein, who's in charge of finance and sorcery with Dave's outfit, or Will Bishop's outfit. He says he says something about some sort of we can cast the Circle of El Pollo Diablo to increase all magical activity tenfold. Well, El Pollo Diablo means the devil chicken in Spanish. So if you look at
poultry again.
Where's it? I gotta follow my finger here, right here, and he's saying his incantation is "Coo-wee El Pollo Diablo, coo-wee, bok 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 bok."
Poultry. Once again, poultry. It's
Poultry.
a heavy poultry interest theme in here.
And they have their time. They have their hands full with this giant orb.
You will be wore out after you read these, for sure. Woo.
Yeah.
I wonder what Matt is going to do now that he's finished all 5 of these. I'd like to know what he's going to do next.
Yeah. The action, the story, the characters, the whole thing is just magnificently done. You got panels. This is almost a 2-page spread.
Yeah.
Panel with our heroes fighting these dark dimensional characters.
Yeah.
We get an explanation of why this guy has a black face.
Yeah, it tells you that. It tells you all that.
Tells you the whole story, and there's the whole family here, the wife and the child.
Yeah.
And then it all leads up to it's quite an amazing finale. I just don't want to give. I'm tempted.
No, we can't give it away.
The ending. I will tell you this.
You're gonna go all the way to issue 5, and you know what happens. That's no fun.
You can see Zombie Dave giving his all in the final battle, and look at that artwork. Good gosh, Matt Decker is just so good.
Top notch. Yep.
You can see that, and the ending is powerful. It's moving, it's poignant, and I'll just say, when you think it's all done, and I read it, I had like tears. I was like, oh man,
Crying like a baby.
So that's how it ends. This is so emotional. The writing, the artwork, it all comes together. The coloring, I mean, the whole thing comes together to one amazing conclusion, and then. Now, I'm not going to say anymore. I'll just say the ending was really powerful.
Stone PI Media, Lebanon, Missouri. That's where it's from. And Matt Decker is the artist, and the guy with the imagination. I would love to talk to him. if you ever want to come on here, Dave, for an interview, I mean, Matt, let us know.
I would love to interview Matt. That would be awesome.
That would really be interesting.
And he does say, he's got a letter call at the end of the issue. He does mention that this is the last, this is the end.
This is
but
the
he
end
doesn't say necessarily that Zombie Dave might not pop up again. So,
well, that's right.
so
You always leave everything a little open-ended, you know?
Yeah.
So
if I was you,
that
this is one of the finest small press comics I've ever seen. And if I was you guys, I would order all 5 issues at once. He'll probably cut you a break on that if you do.
Yeah, I would too, because they're a lot of fun and they're so well done. You know.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Come a long ways from that first issue. The first issue cover.
And I don't know how many years it's been. When was that? Do you have that issue? Does it say when it was?
This came out in 2018, but I saw something. I saw something where he said he began the character in 2010. This might be the first time it was actually published, but he started working on it in 2010. Anyway, it would be anyone's magnum opus. This would be, if this is the only thing you ever did, it's the finest thing you ever did. This is something you'll always be remembered for. Now, I'll never forget these comics.
Well,
I've really been blown away by them.
We got them. We can look at them anytime we want.
Yeah. That won't depart with these.
Yeah.
So.
All right. What do you got next?
Well, I got a couple of ordinary comics from a guy named Larned Justin. Just thought I'd mention
sub minis, I call them. They're 1-page folded comic books.
1-page folded.
Yeah, they're 8 pages, but the way you fold them, you make a little comic book out of them.
Yeah. Two ordinary guys from Jupiter.
2 ordinary guys from Jupiter, which, just a couple of ordinary guys.
It's like you and me.
Huh?
We're from Jupiter. This would be us.
It would be us. It would be like 2 ordinary guys from Earth.
Guys.
Except these guys happen to be from Jupiter.
Yeah.
And there's
they seem like sort of interplanetary tourists.
Yeah, they're traveling around and they see Earth. Well, I figure, we'll land there. Might be something.
Come to Earth.
Yeah. There they are. Landing on Earth there.
And they meet somebody. It's a kid with a backpack. And they say, "We need to see your ruler." And he's like, "Here."
Yeah.
So he reaches into his backpack. And, he pulls out a ruler. I had one over here somewhere. Like this. This is your ruler.
Yeah. Yeah. He had it in his backpack. He's carrying it,
So he says, you carry the ruler around with you, and they just don't get it. So
yeah, they're trying to understand how this ruler can do anything,
He says, I guess you guys are not from around here. He said, no, we're just 2 ordinary guys visiting here.
And I can even give away the last page, because the last page says, the 2 guys say, well, you picked a dumb planet to land on. The ruler is a stick with marks on it. And the next one's in full color, by the way.
Color.
And maybe we won't give away this one so much, but it's in full color. And these cost $75 each from me.
Yeah. And they prepare for a landing. So there they land.
Blank.
Yeah. And there's another ship here. And like, whose ship is that, right?
Yeah.
So the guy emerges, and it's someone you guys will recognize. And they ask him, who's your name? And he says, my name is Gordon Flash. So it's Flash Gordon, folks. Done a Larned Justin style. And, so after that, they call him Gordon Flash,
Yeah.
Now, by the
I won't give
way,
away I won't give away the ending, but it's really funny. I like the coloring. The coloring's very nice.
yeah,
He's not too happy about things.
yeah.
And these guys are just, I mean, look at the expressions on their faces, you know, like pouty lips, like, huh?
Oops.
You know, they just don't get it, you know,
Yeah,
the way things are on Earth, you know, like,
yeah. That's it.
play
Perfect.
this. I should play this in the Two Ordinary Guys movie.
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah.
would play that
That would
character.
be good. I do, speaking of movies, I do have a video on how to make a comic book out of one page, but they're all over the internet. That's easy to find. And anybody can do it. You can do a little stick man, you can do whatever and make a little comic book just like this out of one sheet of paper and sell them for, like I am, $75 an issue and make some money.
Well, what are you? Are you charging anything for these?
Huh?
$1 each?
I don't know.
Just pay for the postage because they're small.
Yeah, pay
If
for
they
the
order something
postage.
else, and that leads me to a question, because it seems to me that it might be something you would include if they order your other comics. And I did want to ask.
I have done that. I have done that. And I do have another comic. This
Mhm.
one. Inspector
Right.
eBay, I Spy a Spy. I don't think you have this one yet, do you? You don't have this one.
I have one Inspector
You have the
eBay.
first one, which is
Spiral Bound.
Digest.
I don't
This
have
one I
that
just finished, and I'll send this along to Steve so he can review it for you guys.
The other Inspector eBay is awesome. It's great. It's lengthy and it's
This
hilarious.
one has grayscale coloring.
Okay.
So, and this is 16 pages long, but and this is $4. But Steve will review it as soon as I can send it to him.
Larned has a distinctive sort of your humor. It's laid back, funny humor, and just you're reading along and you think it's going to be something normal, but there's some I can't describe it other than it's just
Nothing normal, that's for sure.
Nothing. Yeah, really, there's nothing normal. It's
No.
just the way it's written is offbeat and irreverent and hilarious.
And we keep them clean. We do
Mhm.
keep them clean. I think that small press has an obligation to kind of keep things a little more high quality. So I've always been one to, it's easy to do potty humor or bathroom humor. That's the
Right.
easiest thing in the world. Try doing it without doing that. It's a little harder. And I've always subscribed to the theory that small press should be one step above that. And
Right.
that's what I try to do with mine. So,
I'm the same way too. I mean, you got to have a little class in what you're doing and respect your readers, and don't just toss out a bunch of potty humor.
I mean, that's the
A bunch of
easiest
vulgar
thing.
words.
That's the easiest thing in the world to do. I never respect that because it's too easy.
Right. If you can be funny without having to resort to shock tactics.
Shock, and that's 70s, late 60s. Yeah, you were trying to shock people in those days. Mm-hmm. The underground comics, that's what they were trying to do, and they did it. But that's over.
Been done.
So.
And no need to jump on that bandwagon, because the best people who ever did that were probably in the underground comics community. And, you're not really going to top that. They did it, and they did it in an awesome way. The underground comics
very well.
Robert Crumb and Shelton and Sheridan with the Freak Brothers and all that.
And the Freak Brothers.
That was terrific.
Yeah. And that stuff was great at the time. I mean, really, it's still great. But I see no need to, go down that road.
Because a lot of people jump on board, but they don't have the talent. They just have the vulgarity.
Yeah.
First,
when I first got into small press, I was afraid of getting a bunch of that kind of stuff in the mail. So I got a P.O. box and I used a fake name for a little while. The first thing I got was utterly filthy. The very first thing I got was unbelievably filthy.
Welcome to small press.
Yeah. Anyway, from then on, it's been great. Okay, you're going to talk a little bit about this, John.
Oh,
Miller?
I did want to ask, but you got something else in the works. You got something else in the works. You got a comic coming up soon. You want to talk about that real quick? Oh,
What's that?
never mind. It's a
I mean, this is the only one that I'm serious. I have this one, but that's.
No, the one that Tommy Hearn is inking.
Oh yeah, I have a 19th century detective. I've done 2 issues. They're about 6 years ago, and Tom Ahern is inking 30 pages right now.
There you go. 30 pages.
He estimates that it would be out maybe. I mean, he would be finished maybe in October early. So that is coming up, and I'm looking forward to that. And I think
else. Larned writes epics.
That one is not a comedy. There's nothing funny. It's a serious detective story set in the 19th century.
Well, you couldn't
kind of like a Sherlock Holmes, but quite a bit different.
Okay.
So yeah, that is coming up.
Yeah, Tommy Hearn's a terrific inker.
I can't wait to see his
so
inks.
prolific. I understand he's working with Larry Blake again, and they're working on a new project. He's supposed to be doing work for me, but you can't go wrong with you got 2 great talents there. You got Larned, you got Tom Ahern. That's going to be an awesome
Well,
comic.
we got Tom anyway. Okay, so enough about me. This is
As the Miller Told His Tale.
As this is compiled by me. I was given permission by John Miller to put some of his work together in a book. Now, trying to explain John Miller is rather difficult. You can see his style is kind of psychedelic, I would say.
Wildly psychedelic.
Wildly psychedelic. Very sharp, edges to all of his cartoons. And I will say, and now these are from quite a while ago. I haven't heard from John Miller in quite some time, but John Miller suffered from schizophrenia. And I think that's known. He knows it. He lives with it. But it is reflected in all of his work in some way or another. He does a lot of what would I say?
That's a lot of panels on one page.
A lot of panel. I mean, what happens with John?
A lot of work.
As he progressed, you can see these panels have quite a bit of words and they're quite small, but in later years, there was almost all words and a very slim picture at the bottom. Okay. That's how his work kind of progressed. But a lot of people in small press know who John Miller is or was. Like I say, I haven't heard from him for a long time. But I did know some other artists from Scotland that knew John Miller personally and actually went over to his house and helped him out a little bit, with things. And they used to tell me, how he was doing and all that. And I haven't heard from those guys in a while either, but
got some nice artwork.
Yeah.
It's psychedelic for sure, but very well done. Inking is solid, and it's cool. It's cool to look at.
These strips are from 1982 to 2002.
Yeah, and it's done in Scotland. So
he's
in Scotland. He talks like some of the dialogue. It's English, but it's Scotland English.
It has the Scottish brogue in it in the writing.
And if you look at it.
But he does a lot of secret agent stuff, is what I was trying to say before. He likes secret agents, and he'll even use contemporary comics as part of his stories. I can't think of which ones, but but they're secret agents.
But some of these, the dialogue is so Scotland.
Yeah, it's neat.
You have to look at it. So you like talking about these cats. There's two cats here.
Yeah.
Winky and Dinky.
Yeah.
Right here. And right here, they're talking, and it says, "You've maybe noticed that us cats dinna they with people tell us today." It could be dinna die with people
us
tell us die. But what it's saying is us cats
dinna day what folk tell us today.
We don't do what people tell us to do.
Yeah, that's I think what he's saying there.
This is Scottish English. So dinna die day with people tell us today. It's either day or die. Sorry, I should know that. My ancestors actually came from Scotland.
Well, you should know how to speak with a Scottish accent.
I should. Somebody lost that dialect somewhere along the line. But the Keeters are supposed to have come over from Scotland in the mid 1800s. No kidding. And my grandfather's great grandfather, they were Scottish and English. And Keeter is the same name as Keats or Keating or Keaton, like Michael Keaton. So maybe I'm related to Michael Keaton, the Batman. Who knows?
Or but Kevin Bacon.
He doesn't talk like this either.
Yeah.
But if you can get past that, and most of it, it's just very readable. Once in a while you'll see.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what's going on. Although it's very strange. And here's a good example of what I was talking about, where the words are taken over the panels. And this, as he progressed, it got more and more like that.
A lot of dialogue.
Like that, yeah. Claws of power.
Yeah. Well, you look at these two pages.
And
a lot of dialogue. And
this guy is
stylistic artwork.
Yeah.
Uses a lot of black.
Sharp angles, very sharp angles. And it's just really different. And he gave me permission to put this book together, and I still have some left. If anybody would like one,
I mean, his style, it's definitely unique.
Yeah.
And you'd think after decades and decades of freaking 100 years of comics almost, that there's nothing new under the sun.
But
there's something new here.
Yeah. And he's very, very different. Very different.
Yeah. So very distinctive.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fun to read.
Yeah.
I don't know. He may be schizophrenic, but he makes great comics.
Might be able to look him up some way. I don't think he was ever on the internet that I know of, but there may be some way to look him up, see if he's still doing stuff. I don't know. I have not pursued it for a long time, but I don't know what he's doing now.
It'd be worth looking up.
Yeah, it really would. Of course, everybody in Scotland is named John Miller, so that makes it a little difficult. You got to find. So that is John Miller, and cartoonists sometimes are unusual, and this guy's unusual.
We're not unusual. We're normal.
Oh yeah,
that's for darn sure.
So what else do we have? We don't really have anything.
I can't see.
Oh, this is painful.
I like that mask. I thought it was really Batman. I didn't know it was you. I thought, Batman
was the idea. That was the idea. I thought I could fool you.
Yeah. Hey, you totally fooled me.
Yeah. All right.
John Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Two ordinary guys from the United States, Larned Justin and Steve Keeter. There'll be a new. We're all flying off in a flying saucer. There we are, taking off.
That's a good idea. I might do that. Two ordinary guys that are on YouTube. making fools of themselves.
Utterly,
That would be a good comic.
absolutely. Yeah,
And if
we would own that one.
If you would like your comic book on here so that we can make fun of it, all you have to do is send Steve one and me one, and our addresses are in the description below. And we will do our best to ruin your comic book.
Well, folks, we're here to promote small press.
Seriously.
No kidding.
Seriously, we enjoy doing this, and
I know
we
you were
love
getting
to promote your book.
Yeah, I know you were getting worried, but he was only kidding.
I was only kidding. Yeah.
That's Larned's sense of humor, you see. We both have a sense of humor. We wouldn't be doing this show. I will say, okay, I'm just going to mention, because what the heck, we're getting ready to close this out.
Okay.
John Miller, Matt Decker, we're getting so much great stuff. And you guys, if you keep sending your comics and zines, if you would, sometimes I'll order them myself because there's just stuff I want to see. I see stuff out there that's so great, But if you do decide to send your books to us for review, send a copy to Larned and send a copy to me, and we'll review it on the show. And
the
I want to
other
mention.
thing I wanted to mention.
You go ahead.
Comments. We enjoy comments. We like to answer them. We like to read them. Now, you have to have a YouTube channel to make a comment. You don't have to have anything on your channel. It's free, but it allows you to comment on any of the YouTube videos then. And we love comments. I don't think we get enough comments, so can't be too many. So
and we can definitely use one. And the comments also, they help to promote small press as well, because you're talking about and you're encouraging the people we review.
Who we're talking about, yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
you're letting them know what you think. And, I think there's a lot of great talent out there, and we do our best to promote that. So, get behind those folks and be supportive and, let them know what you think.
Yeah. As I said before, you're talking about limited edition art. There's no other explanation. That's what it is. You can go to galleries and buy limited edition prints, and you got one picture. You can get a small press comic book, and you got a whole comic book of limited edition art. So someday it might be worth $3-4. Who knows?
No, I'm surprised when I go on eBay and I see something that I published 40 or 50 or 30 years ago, and I charge like $2 for it, or $1, and I see it on there and they're bidding and the starting bid is like $75. I'm like, whoa, how'd that happen?
I just bought we have a little, it's actually a little, they sell toys and those kinds of things, collector toys, but he has some comic books, and he had a Mad magazine from 1968 with a cover price of 25 cents, and it sold for $8, and I bought it because I'm a Mad magazine guy. Yeah. So yeah, they increase in value the older they get, I guess.
Yeah, they do, because small press comics are on a much more limited print run.
Yeah, very
but yet
limited.
they still have an influence. They still have an influence on people, and on artists and writers who are coming up later. And I know that some of the people I worked for that worked for me, that did work for me 50 years ago, and then they've gone on and done professional comics. And
yeah, they're professional comic book artists now. Yeah.
And gotten paid for their work, making money, as Larned and I are continuing to lose money on what we publish, but we mean well.
Yeah. That's the truth.
I want to mention very quickly, there's an old pal of mine, it's David Kling, an old friend of mine from way back, I guess the 1970s, late 70s or early 80s. He published a comic book called The Triumvirate. And this isn't something we're going to review on the show because I don't think Larned is going to get a copy of this, but I just want to mention this. He's back publishing many, many years later.
Wow.
And he's publishing paperback.
Nope. Are they graphic novels or?
No, they're not graphic novels. It's all text.
No, it's all text.
They're based on the comic stories that he published before.
Wow.
Some 30 or 40 years ago.
Neat. Yeah.
So he sent me a couple of these.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool.
And David Kling, and he's just rejoined the UFO after 40 years. He's back in the UFO, so he's going to be doing some comics.
Oh, great.
So that's cool, and that just gives you kind of an indication of, you know, the kind of quality we can expect. So hopefully we'll be reviewing his stuff sometime in the near future.
All right. Well, kind of a shorter version of our show. We need some new comics, and we will be back when we get some comics, and we will be doing some interviews. So we not always have comics
Dan
to
Burke.
review, but
Dan Burke, are you watching this show? 'Cause we're kind of interested in reviewing you. I just want to say that because Dan is a guy who got into small press in 1973 because he ordered one of my first small press comics. He ordered a copy of I'm Number One, and that was it. He jumped into small press, and he's been doing it for years and years. He's been working for Alan Freeman with his publications, and you know, and he's doing stuff online. And Dan, I know Dan said something that he'd like to be on the show.
Oh, good.
Dan, we'd like to interview you. I'm just throwing that out to you.
As we'd like to destroy anybody's career that we can.
Right. You want your career destroyed. Yeah.
All right, I think we're going to wrap it up. And, you know, Michael Eisenfeld lives near me, and he's a comic book artist. And you know what he said? He was working, I guess, the late shift. And he plays our videos in the background, kind of like music. He listens to them while he's working. Now, you can do that if you want. And also, you could use this as a nightlight if you don't want to hear the sound. So,
but let's let folks know.
Yeah, we're multi-purposed here. So, all right, we're leaving before we get in more trouble. All right, see you next time.